John chapter 4, we're going to take a look at, starting with verse 7. It says, when a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, will you give me a drink? His disciples had gone into town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, you are a Jew and I'm a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Jesus answered her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. Sir, the woman said, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you give me this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his flocks and herds? Jesus answered, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. The woman said to him, sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water. He told her, go, call your husband and come back. I have no husband, she replied. Jesus said to her, you are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you had 5 husbands. You know, I did some research. I found out her name, Elizabeth Taylor. Just a little research fact. The fact is, you've had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have said is quite true. I want you to notice, Jesus acknowledges the woman's past lives, and he acknowledges that those husbands were legal husbands. I think some people have a misunderstanding of the teachings of Christ, that when someone remarries and has another spouse, that somehow God doesn't acknowledge that that is a real legal spouse. He does acknowledge that. So the Lord does acknowledge her past life and past relationships. But he also, I don't know if you noticed this, he also gives her a little slap on the wrist. You notice he brings a little conviction and says, when she says, I don't have a husband, he says, yeah, the man you're shacking up with is not your husband, I know. Hello. Now, listen to me. How many of y'all want God's blessings? Ready? You want God's blessing in your relationship? Are you ready? If you're shacking up, you got to get married. I know, in all this heated debate about the domestic health benefits, everyone's focused on the gay side. I've been preaching about the unmarried trying to get tax dollars for their shacking up. That was wrong too. Yeah, but Pastor, this is a modern world. I got news for you. Hell is not a modern place. Oh, but Pastor, you don't understand. I just don't believe in marriage because it's just a piece of paper. Oh, next time you go buy a car, tell them I don't want to sign a piece of paper because it's just a piece of paper. See how that works out? People are funny. It's just me signing. Yes, why is it important for you to sign? Because it's showing a commitment. And this woman, I don't know why she didn't sign on the dotted line. Maybe she's on the 5th one and says, what's the point? This is going to end like everything else. This is just shack up. And what I find is Jesus, in his own compassionate, yet firm, and perhaps even sarcastic manner, he said, yeah, the man you're living with is not your husband. That means the Lord sees everything. He acknowledged, first of all, she did have husbands. And then he also said, what you're doing, you know it's not right by not getting married. See, so he does correct her in that. But of course, she has a lot more problems than that, so he doesn't hammer on that point. But there is a little reminder. She's living out of wedlock. But there's something significant. Jesus ties together her life with the harvest. Jump to verse 35. Now the disciples are talking to Jesus. And he says, do you not say 4 months more and then the harvest? I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. You know what he's saying? Do you not just see who I'm talking to? Here's a woman who's been through 5 marriages. Isn't that a sign that people need God? So when I look at the world and I see divorces and remarriages and blended family, and I see all of this taking place, I cannot help but see that people need God. And what Jesus is telling this woman, you're thirsty. You're thirsty for other relationships. You're thirsty for love. You're wanting relationships, but you're finding love in all the wrong places. He says, you're missing it out. What you need is me. If you'll have me and I'll give you living water, you won't be making the mistake of trying to get your satisfaction from marrying this person. And that's what happens. We marry this person and it doesn't turn out, well, I don't like him anymore. You know, he's not bringing me happiness. The trouble is you have a God-shaped hole that you're trying to fill it with husbands, with wives. And wives and husbands, they make good, look, men make good husbands, some of them. Wives, women make good wives, some of them. But you know what they all make lousy? They all make lousy gods. See, and so people are wanting God, but they don't know it. They're wanting genuine love. But without having that genuine love, they start making mistakes in all these relationships. And so Jesus is telling this woman, if you'll just get my water that I give you, eternal life, you're not going to want to be thirsty again. And you're not going to be going from one man to another looking for love when it's me. But here's the final point I want you to see. Jesus did not look at this woman's life and discard her and say, you know what, you can't be used of God. You are nothing, you're trash, you are a nobody. You know what he did? This woman was used as an evangelist to go out and preach to other people, and she ended up getting other people saved and brought them to Christ. You know what that tells me? It doesn't matter about your past lives, how many divorces you've been through and how many remarriages. God is not through with you. He doesn't look at your past mistake and said, I'm sorry, you had one chance. I'm through. Get out. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you when you leave. Get out of my church. Get out of my life. Bye-bye. No. God says, I understand the mistakes, but I'm a God of another chance. And you know what? If you'll receive me, you can go out and win other people to Christ. You can be a preacher and a pastor despite your past. But see, the religion, this is where they get legalistic. They start throwing people away because of their past mistakes instead of letting God use them. But see, what's the Lord trying to do? He's trying to help us become better people. So if you would, go to Matthew 19. Matthew 19. This is going to be our last passage we're going to look at. Because in order for us to be blessed in a new relationship, we have to do it Christ's way. So obviously, this woman is probably not very good at being a wife, is she? At least she's not very good at picking out good husbands. All right, so there's a mistake somewhere. How many of y'all know, after you've been through about 3 or 4 marriages, quit blaming the other person? There's a common denominator, it's you. There has to be a change. So if you've been through a divorce and you are remarried, what's going to make this new marriage different than the old? Well, it's the different person. Duh! Everyone says that. It's always a different person. But what's going to make this one different? You have to make the change. You have to be the different person.